It's been a while since I reviewed a product that I consider to be a complete game changer and one that I'd stake my reputation on, but I am 100% confident that the Ultra Evolution line from SVS will take your home theater game to a whole new level, especially if you're like me and you're coming from an entry-level home theater or a soundbar. Let's talk about my experience with this SVS lineup and find out why these could be the speakers you need to transform your home theater experience. If you follow my channel, you'll know that back in July I became extremely ill from black mold toxicity and am still dealing with debilitating brain fog and neurological issues which have made it hard to stay consistent. Because of this, I humbly ask that should you buy any products featured in this video, you consider using my link in the description, which helps me earn a small percentage to help keep this channel and my life afloat. Thank you to those that do. Now let's get back to the video. Because I'm in an apartment, I decided to go with a pair of Ultra Evolution towers, the smallest of the lineup and no sub, in the hopes I would still get a solid level of bass without getting complaints from the neighbors. I've also got the Ultra Evolution 3-way center speaker and a pair of nanos in the back as rears, and while I don't have them yet, I plan to get some Ultra Elevations to complete the set and get an at-home Dolby Atmos experience. Now, I don't want to focus too much on specs here, as you can find that on the website, but because of the unique design and technology used, it can't be ignored. Let's start off with the 3-way Ultra Evolution towers, which retail at $1,499 each and feature a unique curved design I don't think you'll find anywhere else. The reason for the curve is to deliver acoustically centered time alignment, which means the sound from every speaker, the tweeter, the mid-range, and the woofer all hit your ears at the same time for extra accuracy and better imaging than your standard speaker design. It features a 1-inch diamond-coated aluminum dome tweeter, a feature commonly found in more expensive units, dual 4.5-inch mid-range drivers which are placed above and below the tweeter for better crossover blending to help create that specific point where sound flows from, and quad, yes quad, 5.25-inch glass fiber woofers, 2 on the front and 2 dual opposing woofers on the back that create what SVS calls force-balanced array, where mechanical energy from each front firing woofer is equaled inside the cabinet by the rear firing woofer, which results in better low frequency response so you'll get bass spread evenly throughout the listening area. You've also got separate acoustically tuned chambers for the woofers and mid-range drivers to optimize separation and eliminate possible resonance. Though they're the smallest of the towers, they still stand about 45 inches tall, have a width of about 8.5 inches, a depth of about 17 inches, and come in at a hefty 59.5 pounds. We then move on to the Ultra Evolution Center, which currently retails at $799 and has a true 3-way center and crossover design, resulting in pristine clarity and a large sweet spot, and has many of the same features as the towers. It's got a similar time-aligned cabinet with curved front baffles, which means the sound from each driver will reach your ears at the same time. It also features a 1-inch diamond-coated aluminum dome tweeter with an organic cell lattice diffuser that not only protects the tweeter but employs a semi-random pattern to improve response and maximize that sweet spot. Because it's a 3-way speaker, you get the extra 4.5-inch mid-range driver under the tweeter where most of the sound exists and is made from the same glass fiber composite as the woofers. Speaking of those woofers, here we get a bigger size than the towers with dual 6.5-inch woofers capable of going down to 40 Hz. It's built with a separate acoustically tuned chamber for the mid-range, which once again helps optimize separation and helps eliminate resonance, has precision cast aluminum alloy baskets to maximize heat dissipation, and a chamfered front baffle to minimize edge diffraction for accurate sound. It's the biggest center I've owned so far at a little under 8 inches tall, has a width of about 22 inches, a depth a little under 12 inches, and weighs in at about 27 pounds. That brings us to the Ultra Evolution Nano, which retails at $449 each. Also have a diamond-coated 1-inch tweeter with a 5.25-inch glass fiber composite mid-woofer, time-aligned cabinet geometry so sound hits your ears at the same time, and are, you guessed it, acoustically tuned to optimize low frequency and eliminate resonance, much like the rest of the lineup. They come in a little over 12 inches tall, have a width of about 7.5 inches, a depth just under 10 inches, and weigh in at 13.5 pounds each. The entire lineup comes in your choice of color between black oak veneer, which is what I have, or two glossy finishes, black and white, and all come with easy to snap on and off magnetic covers. With all the specs out the way, the question remains, how do they perform? Now understand, I am not a professional high-end premium speaker reviewer who gets all the big brands to send me review units all the time, so my viewpoint may differ from other reviews where those guys are used to hearing to $8,000 or $10,000 speakers. I'm coming from using higher-end soundbars and an entry-level home theater system, which consisted of Polk Signature Series speakers. So if you're in a similar boat and this is your first dive into something more expensive, this may resonate with you better. I almost settled for the Samsung Q990D soundbar as my permanent home solution, and don't get me wrong, for a soundbar it's fantastic and is definitely one of the best, but it just can't compare to a true home theater setup, as it lacked not only the physical presence of having separate properly placed towers, but the impact needed as far as bass response, which even amongst soundbars it lacked. We then take into account my old Polk Signature Series setup with S55 towers that actually had bigger woofers than these SVS towers but came nowhere near the quality you get. It's a huge jump that can only be heard by the ears, and even though I had a sub with the Polk configuration, I still found myself noticing new frequencies and much more impactful bass, and keep in mind I have no sub with this current setup. The towers may be the smallest of the lineup, but thanks to what I'm assuming is the force-balanced array, I get all the impact I need without earth-shattering bass that would normally make neighbors complain. One other major difference is that with the Polk system, I had to use dynamic volume on my Denon receiver to hear dialogue clearly and make certain effects more audible. With the Ultra Evolutions, there's no need to use either dynamic volume or EQ, which means I can watch with the best quality possible, and maybe that's the difference in having a three-way center channel versus the old two-way. Whatever it is, it's a breath of fresh air, and movies will be that much more dynamic without the extra processing. One thing to keep in mind due to the new design and rear ports is that these speakers are heavily reliant on proper speaker placement, which means you'll want to get them away from the wall as much as possible and experiment with positioning to get the most out of these speakers. And not everybody has space to work with, so if you can't get them off the walls, that's something to consider as you won't be able to maximize them. Now, in my case, I set them up as best as I could until I was happy after calibration, then went to music and noticed the stereo image just wasn't where it needed to be. So I pulled them out a few more inches and placed them closer together until the stereo image was just right and had that glue that was missing before. Now, I'm an old school 90s rap and R&B head and will say that having 5.25-inch woofers, you'll start to notice the lack of low end on some bass-heavy tracks 90s rap often employed, but R&B sounded fantastic, and in the case of Sade, Kiss of Life, I was fully immersed and felt like my old teenage self, ready to record mixtapes off the radio using a cassette player. Yes, I'm that old. So after calibrating again and getting everything just right when it comes to music, I jumped back into movies, and man, oh man. I rewatched the opening scene of the newer Mortal Kombat movie, and I hated that movie compared to the old one, but wow, the immersiveness brought new life to the film, and I can't wait to rewatch every movie I've ever seen with new energy. It really will take your experience to a whole new level. Just get your placement right and acoustically treat your space, and you'll never need to go to the movies again unless you're trying to avoid spoilers. They really are that good, and no, this is not an ad for SVS. I truly believe this product is worth the money, and unless you're in a different tax bracket and you can afford those $8,000 to $10,000 speakers, you will be completely satisfied. That's my experience with this product, but I want to do something I typically don't do, and that's talk about SVS as a company. I'll go to any review site or Facebook group and you'll find nothing but praise when it comes to SVS's customer service and communication, and with some of the brands I've dealt with in the past, it's not that common. You get a 45-day in-home audition, and I know a lot of companies offer a trial period where if you're not satisfied, you have to pay a hefty return fee, maybe a restocking fee, but not here. SVS will actually pay for the return shipping themselves, and I imagine that's not cheap and is a big deal, which shows the confidence they have in their product. Not only that, but they list a direct line to the president of the company right on the website. I mean, who does that? There are companies who don't even list a phone number or only have automated recordings when you call all-in, SVS. If you're watching this, more brands should follow your model. So you've got a fantastic company in SVS who puts customer service first with a fantastic product that impresses and will no doubt only continue to improve over time. If you're looking to spend a little more to get that end-game home theater setup, look no further. The Ultra Evolution line should be at the top of your list. Now that's going to wrap things up for today. If you enjoyed this video, consider hitting that subscribe button and notification bell, as I'll have more home theater and SVS content coming your way. Until next time, thank you for watching.